And go live.
And go live. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I know we've got some of our first guests joining. Welcome, welcome. Where's everybody joining from? Would love to hear. I can't see my chat here. There we go. Welcome, folks. I'm in Dublin. Ido's in Tel Aviv. Got Cherie in Tel Aviv as well. We'll start really quickly soon now. Top of the hour, let a few more people join. How you doing, Ido?
I'm great. I'm great. Really excited about this new concept and this meeting. Yeah, can't wait to get started.
I think it's going to be amazing. Super excited for it. Super excited. Now, I think we're nearly ready to kick off. How's the weather there in Tel Aviv today, Ido? Getting warm?
It's warm. Yeah, it's definitely getting warm. Getting hot.
It's not so hot here in Dublin, but there's blue skies for a change. No rain clouds, which is good. It's good.
Nice.
All right, I think we'll kick off. I think we're at the top of the hour. We'll have some more people join in a while. But look, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome Editor X creators to our very first webinar in our new Tabula Rasa series. Am I saying that correctly, Ido?
If you want to say it with an Israeli accent, you need to say Tabula Rasa.
Tabula Rasa, Tabula Rasa. Welcome to our Tabula Rasa series. And as you can see today, we're joined by Editor X Technical Designer Ido Hershkovits for our very first installment, Tabula Rasa 01. And as I discovered this week, Tabula Rasa means blank slate, and that's exactly what we're working with here today, a completely blank slate, which is really cool and really exciting. And we want to keep these sessions really primal, kind of uninfluenced, unscripted. And I think the key word that you said as well, Ido, was spontaneous.
Yeah,
so that
definitely.
and it's about like immersing ourselves in this experience of what it's like to build a website on the go. In a kind of real life environment, and making and fixing mistakes along the way. And in each one of these live sessions, we're going to take a new design or concept and really create it on the fly with Editor X. And we encourage you guys to ask questions and participate in a discussion during these sessions. There's no rules when it comes to Tabula Rasa, and that's what we think will make them really interesting and really exciting, but also, I think, a really amazing collective learning experience. And the man behind this, the inspiration behind this, the genius behind this is Ido. And I think you can introduce this a lot better than me, Ido. So let me hand it over to you.
All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Ido. I'm a technical designer here at the Editor X marketing team. And I really got this idea of just letting you guys into my sort of approach to building on Editor X. So I can just show you how I think when I look at a design and I want to translate it into Editor X and create a website out of it. And I think this should be, again, a really spontaneous. I don't have anything prepared in the editor. I don't even have fonts. I don't have images. It's going to be sort of like, you might look at it like a simulation of myself working like as a builder, maybe in an agency, maybe as a freelancer, and then I'm getting a design maybe from a designer. In this case, it's going to be like a design on Figma, and then I'm just going to get it and I'm going to start building it on Editor X. We have about 90 minutes, so I guess we'll get as far as we can go. And yeah, I think we should just jump into it. I want to make sure, Maria, are we recording?
We are recording. We are recording, and we are live on Facebook. Yeah.
So
and we will be sharing
the recording. Be available.
Sorry, go ahead.
Great. All right. So I think we can just dive into what we're going to build today. So basically, we have this design here on Figma. So this is a design of a website. It's like a one-pager with one section. We have some navigation here. We have some sidebars here that we can create. We have this text that is rotated, and I hope we get to showing some cool methods and hacks about how we can go about doing text rotation. And this is like a very interesting layout because we have some overlapping here of these images on the text, and because this is just one section, then I have to think, when I look at it, how is this going to behave in terms of responsiveness? What am I going to do? Will I do it as a scaling proportionally design? Or maybe I can do it as a design which will be a 100 VH, meaning like that this section will always take 100% of the height of my screen. And looking at it now, I think that's the approach that I'm going to take. So basically, if I'm analyzing this sort of looks like kind of a grid to me, where we have a header, and we have this section here, and this section is actually going to be a grid of columns and rows. If I'm just dividing it in my head now, then I can see that perhaps this would be even these edges here, these black paddings would be actually columns in a grid, and also this one here, and also this one can be a column and just go above it. Yeah, that looks like what I'm gonna do. I'm just thinking aloud here and trying to get you guys involved into my thought process now. All right, so I think we can start. I don't have anything ready. I don't even think that I have this font ready. So maybe I have it downloaded, but I will add it to the editor. So let's start. Let's go into the editor. And I'll also show you while I'm working how I can do measurements. Like I will do measurements here in Figma I will see this 47 pixels. I will translate that into the editor, and then I would make it behave responsive. So let's start. All right, so we don't have a footer here, so we can get rid of this default footer. I am going to use the header, but I'm going to get rid of this logo and of this menu right now. So right now we have a section and a header. Just make my canvas a little bit smaller, even though if I take a look at the design, I see that the desktop design is 1920 wide, and I'm going to take that into consideration when I build. All right, let's check out what we need to do with the height of this header. So I can see this header it's saying 61. I'll make it a 60 pixel header. So I'll just change the minimum height here to be 60 pixels. And let's change the background color of the whole page. We'll change it to black. Nice. And I do see that I have this gradient here. And I see if I hover over it in Figma, I have it as an image. Let's see how I can just export.
Can you zoom a little bit so we can see
Thank you.
the section?
All right, so I'll just export this as a PNG. And the gradient. Top one is perfect for me. All right, and go into my editor, go to media, and upload that gradient in. And I just want to see, all right, so it has a width of 1,143 pixels. So I'm going to remember that, that size. I'll just add it into my header, and I'll align it to the center like this. And what did we say? 1,143. And I'll just make my section 1920. I'll make my screen 1920, same as the Figma design. And make this 1,143 pixels. So it will be the same as the Figma design. And now you see that it's practically, it's scaled proportionally, and it's actually exactly the height of the header. And I'll just change this to be percentage. And I'll change the height to be 100%. Like this. And let's see in terms of responsiveness how this behaves. So you'll see me all the time playing around with the size of my canvas. And basically, because I'm my breakpoint is 1,001 and up, I'm always going to check my site at 1,001. I'm only now working just on desktop. I'm not going to touch tablet and mobile for now. Maybe we'll get to it later, but I only want to focus on one breakpoint at a time. Nice. So this looks okay. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add my menu items that I have here. So let's check this out. We have text size of 38. The font is Helvetica Light. If we measure from the edges here, we'll see that we have 47. Let's see what's going on here. I can even draw a rectangle to see what's going on. Well, this is kind of asymmetric, but I'm going to make it 45 or something like that from this side as well. All right, so going back, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to add another container into this header. So I'm going to quick add a container here. I can just create it here and remove its background color. And then I'll add in a title. I'll change the text to, first change it to white so we can see it. And it needs to be Helvetica Light 38. Let's look for the font. Let's see if I have it. Helvetica Light. Yeah, there it is. And the text is events, right? Events. And the size is 38 pixels. Nice. So I'm going to change, I like changing the width of my text elements. Sometimes I do this. I change them to be max content. So they will, the width will be exactly the width of the text inside. The text box will get its width from the text inside. I can align this to the left and to the vertical center. I'll copy this and align it to the center and the middle. And here I'm going to change the text to be tickets.
So Ido, when you decide to set the width of the text as max content, and when you use different units? What is the rule?
Well, it depends. If I want my text like to take a certain specific width, so maybe I want it to break in a certain particular way, then I would add it. I would add width to it. But when it's just one text and I want it to be in one line, then I would use max content for that.
So if it's short text that you want it always to be like one line without any break, right?
Yeah. So I can use.
But if it's a long paragraph, you won't use it, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to change the text here to artists. I actually see that this is not capitals, just for the sake of precision, we'll make it as it is in the design.
So we have the first question from Vicky. Would it be possible to just import from Figma the site styles and nothing else? So you imported the image, right?
Yes.
But you want to import styles. I'm not quite sure exactly what it means, but maybe the theme.
Yeah.
Fonts and colors. All right.
Fonts and colors. Right now, it's not possible yet to do this transition from Figma to Editor X. But I do know it's something that is being researched and worked on. So maybe in the future we'll have some interesting things to show about that as well. All right.
Anyway, when you use special fonts, right? You in Figma, basically you download it to your computer, right? As a file.
I think I'll have an example to show of this in just a few minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I want to just change this minimum height of the container. I'll change it to none, and that way the only thing determining the height of the container is now these text elements. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this container inside my header, right? And then I'm going to stretch it to the header. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some paddings on the sides of this inner container. And the reason I'm adding padding into the inner container and not into the header itself, let's just demonstrate that. So if I add the padding to the header itself, like say I want to add 45 pixels padding to the header itself, then what's going to happen, because this gradient that I added is an image, it's like a piece of content, so it's going to push that as well. And that's why I added in another container which doesn't contain that gradient, it's on top of it, and I'm going to give that the padding. So let's see, we'll choose the container, and now we're going to give that our 45 pixel padding. And we can see that the gradient is from the start here. And if we now take a look at 1001, which is the lowest point on desktop, we see that we have responsive behavior. All right, let's go back to our design, see what else we need to add here. So I can see that we have this white line here. I think I'll just add a white line to this. And this time I'm going to add the line directly to the header, because remember, on the inner container, I have padding. And if I add the line into the container, let's just do that. If I add a line now, and I add it directly into the container, let's change its color to white. And let's change the line width to 1 pixel. And if I now dock it to both sides, and I'll zero out all the margins so it will It's also docked to the bottom, so now it will be sticking to the bottom. But you can see that it's reaching only the padding, and I want it to reach until the end. So I want to add this line into the header itself. So I'm gonna cut it out of the container and paste it into the header, and then again, 0 out and 0 out. And I'm also going to add to this line a bit of a negative margin here, because as you can see, the line itself has some, except for the line, it has, the element itself has some width. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it about -4
height,
pixels.
right? Some height.
Some height, yeah. Maybe -3 pixels. Wait, not here. Select the line and add it to -3 pixels. And yeah, that looks about right. All right.
So the line is child of the header itself, right? Not the container.
Yeah, we can check that out in the layers panel. I have a header, and the children of the header are the line and the image, the gradient image.
Right.
And the container is also a sibling of the line and the image, but it itself has a padding, and the padding of the container is what's giving us this space between the edges.
Yeah.
All right. So if anyone has any other questions about this, or can I go on to the next part of the design?
So far, everything seems good.
All right, so let's take a look at this. There are many ways to build this design. I can refer to this whole thing as one container, maybe, that lives inside a section, and then subdivide that into a grid. Or I can maybe just refer to this whole section as a grid that has columns and rows. And I think that's what I'm going to do in this case. And I think I am going to go for the approach of making this whole thing be take the entire height of the browser, meaning no matter what browser my height is going to be, I have to change this section in order to adjust itself to the height. And I need to decide what's going to be responsive here. So I'm taking a look at it, and what pops up to my head is that these two images are going to be the responsive elements, meaning that maybe even this text, this text and these images are going to change in size and width. I think I'm going to keep these spaces here fixed. And also these two side bars, I'm going to keep them at a fixed width, and everything else is going to be responsive. Let's see how that works. So if I take a look at it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So I'm going to make this 7 columns, and I think I only need 2 rows in here, a row for the text and a row for these images. So I'm going to apply a grid to the section, and I'm going to choose a custom grid, and the grid is going to be 7 columns and 2 rows, like this. And let's start to adjust the sizes of these grid columns. So let's see what I have here.
So again, why you choose 7 columns?
Because I have like divided this layout into 7 columns that I want to be the elements inside to be like responsive inside of these columns. I want a relationship between these elements in these 7 columns.
So these gaps, the black space that has nothing, like between the images, and
they're going to be columns.
All right. Okay.
They're going to be columns.
So 1, 2, 3,
I could have
4,
used
5.
gaps. I could have created a container here with padding on the sides, and I could put a gap in the grid itself. But I think I'm going to go with this approach now.
All right.
Let's start measuring some things. So again, we have this 47. I'm going to say that it's 45. This is also 45. And this is also about 45. And if I measure this here, it's also
50.
It's not 50. It's something, I think there's something protruding here in the design. By the way, I want to give a shout out to the amazing designer that created this design, Vered Bloch, which created this beautiful, beautiful section. And I can see that this column, let's see, I'll just measure it. This is about 150 something. Yeah, 156. Okay, so let's start adjusting things. I know that this column needs to be 156 pixels. I know that the column next to it, we'll make it 45. Sorry, 45. 45 pixels. Yeah, guys, this is exactly what I want. I want you guys to see me failing, making mistakes, going back on my tracks. I want this to be like a really real experience. So this is 45 pixels. The one next to it will be 45 pixels as well. Right? Then let's take a look at the first one. The first one and the third one are going to be also 45 pixels. And because the rest of them are in FR units, so they are taking what remains of the grid width. So this is going to be 45 pixels as well. And let's measure this image right here. So this is about 818. All right, so let's make it 818 pixels. And just, I'll make my screen wider here.
So if we are talking about responsive website, why are you using units in pixels, right?
The reason that I'm using units in pixels, just a minute, I'll just want to change this one to 45 pixels before. This is the third column. And the reason that I'm using pixels, for some of these columns, I'm going to leave them in pixels. That's the behavior that I'm choosing now. But for some other columns inside, the ones that I want to be more responsive, I'm going to first put in a value in pixels. You can notice that I'm now at 1920. That is the size of my design. I will input the value in pixels. And then, like, the biggest power, in my opinion, of Editor X is that you can input values in pixels, and then you can convert these values back into responsive units. And that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to change this to 800.
Like it's automatically calculated, right?
Yeah. And now what I'm going to do, after I've inputted these 818 pixels, basically, I'm going to convert this now back to FR. So if you look at the design, and you don't have to look, you can measure it. So this image is 818 pixels wide, and this image is 758. So there is a difference here. And that's why in this design, this one is 1.1 FR and this one is 1 FR. So I want to make this difference. I can even make this difference a bit more pronounced. I'll change this to 1.2. Okay. I'm trying to be as accurate as can be, but sometimes I look at things and I'm trying to round it up. So it looks better to me. I might change that again when I continue working. All right, so it seems that my design is looking good. And if I go to 1001, so my grid is behaving more or less how I want it to behave. We're going to take care of the rows in a second. All right, and I think I'll just add in just a blank small section here, just so my just make this a 100 pixel section. All right. So now let's add in the text here. You know what? Let's start with the images. Okay. So first of all, I want to download these images because I don't have them in my project. So what I'll do is take it. I think I'm going to give this rounded corner. I'm going to give it inside of the editor because the reason that I'm doing this is because this image is going to be scaling in different ways. It's not going to be remain the same proportion at all screen sizes, because remember, I'm going to make this respond to the viewport height, to the height of the browser as well. So I'm just canceling out this 80 pixel round corner, and I'll export it. I can export it either as a JPEG or PNG. Basically, this image can be a PNG. I know that there's like this school of thought where JPEGs are more like quality pictures, but basically, if you PNGs.
Yeah.
Oh, I said JPEG. Sorry. So basically, if there's no transparent elements in your image, or sometimes there are fine gradients which don't translate so well inside of JPEGs. But if it's just a normal image, then you can definitely use JPEG. Like for this image, I chose to use PNG because obviously it has transparency, and I want that transparency to export with the image. So I'll export this one. You know what? Let's export them both. I think I can do both, right? Let's see. Oops. Yeah. Can I do both? I think so.
Only the corner for the
the
next image. The second.
What would I do without you, Tanya?
Here to help.
So glad to have Matanya here. He's the master and expert in Editor X. And he's giving me some excellent questions to rebound off.
This is the behind the scenes.
All right, let's see. We'll save these two images. And let's bring them into our canvas. Just upload them. Okay, so I'm going to add these two images to the page. And this image will go here, and this image will go in this grid cell. Yeah, so I can stretch this, and I'm going to stretch this one as well. And now you can see that my section height is minimum height of 500 pixels. So what I want to do here is I want this section to be relative to the size of my browser height. The height of the section, I want it to be relative. So what do I need to do here? Just putting 100 VH will not help me, because one thing that I have is this header here, which also has a height of 60 pixels, as you recall. And also in my published site, because this is not a premium site, then I would have the Editor X banner, which takes up another 50 pixels. So I need to use a calculation here in the height. So I'm going to make the minimum height of the section. I'm going to use this calc option here. So you have all sorts of units, and then you have calculation. I'm going to use calc, and I'm going to make this 100 VH, and then I'm going to make it minus the 50 pixels of the banner and minus my header, which is 60. That gives us 110 pixels. So this section, in terms of height, will always be 100% of the viewport height minus the header and the banner. And you can see that I have this weird space now that's going on here. Why did the image did not stretch until the end of the grid? You might be asking yourself. So let's go inside the grid to see what's going on. So something is strange here in the grid layout. We see that basically our grid is smaller than our section, and this is because right now what determines the height of this row, if we take a look, it has a minimum height of 325 pixels and max content. Now, because my images are stretched to this row, well, they're stretching to the 325 pixels. So what I can do here is I can change the row height. I can either change it to auto or to FR. If I change it to FR, then now it's taking the remainder of the height that's in my grid. And this row is set to 325. We'll deal with this row in just a minute. But for now, if we take a look at our site, and we can even, let's just publish this. First time I'm publishing. And let's view the site. So basically, this is the section that we added below, like the 100 pixel section. And you can see that my section is exactly the height of the browser. And if I resize my browser, you see it's exactly reaching the edge of this section. So this is the 100 VH minus this and this.
So here is a question. Okay, most of the time, this is something I really struggle with it at the beginning. Most of the time, you would like the content to determine the height of the section, right? Because you want it to be responsive. So
it depends. If you're looking for a proportionally scaling design, then you would maybe put the image at 100% of the grid row, and you would take the scale proportionally box, and then the image with its own proportion would determine the height of this row. But because I want it to be responsive also to the height of my browser, I am allowing my image to stretch and change its natural proportions in order for it to stretch to the end of the browser.
So the stronger rule is that you first want this section to be always 100 VH, right? To cover the whole screen, no matter what screen you are using. Right? Yeah, in this particular design.
Yes.
And so this is why the image are stretched to fill all the gaps that between different size of screens, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, so let's continue. Actually, we're going to show an example of how content determines height in this row that we're gonna take care of now. So this design is really interesting because you have like the two schools of thought. One where the grid cell or the container, the parent determines the height of the content inside, and mixed in with it is going to be this row where the content is going to determine its height. All right, so let's see. I need to see if I have this font here. So this font is called Matone. Let's see, let's change this to white. Let's look for this font. Let's see if I have it. All right, maybe I have it on my computer. Let's see. Yeah, I have it here. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna upload this font real quick. Oh, yeah, here it is. This is just going to take a few seconds.
So there is a question, why use viewport height instead of pixels for the images? So here in this example, we didn't use a viewport height and not even pixels. It's stretched, right?
We used viewport heights not in the image itself. We used viewport
The entire
heights
section.
in the entire section. But because my second grid row is set to auto, so it's going to always go to the height of the section. It's not, it's set to FR. Auto, you can set to auto and FR. It will work both ways.
One of the best unit I like to use, the FR.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's the text here. Ramona. And let's see what size we have here. So the size is 282. Let's see if this works. This is a real big text. Let's try 282. Ooh la la. So let's make it live in these two cells here. Wait. Something. Yeah. Yeah, it needs to live in these three cells. So I located this text inside of these three columns. Remember, we created 3 columns here. We created 7 columns, but the text is going to live in the second, third, and fourth column. So if I see the text, you see that it lives in the first row, in the second, third, and fourth column.
So here is a great example that because the second row is 1 FR, so it always take in consider the row above it and see if it's taking more place, I will take less, right?
And that's happening because this row has a minimum of 325 pixels, but in the maximum, it's max content. And when we put max content as a maximum, then the row height will be determined by the text inside. But actually, we don't want this text to be breaking now. So I'm just going to do some minor adjustments, I think, to the text. We're going to cancel the auto spacing, and let's make this, let's start by 1. And I think I even gonna make the line height even less. So let's try 0.9 maybe, even less. Let's try 0.8. Okay. And now I'm going to go to the character spacing, and here, wait.
Oh, you need to select the text because the text is not selected.
Yeah. Now I lost the letter here. Yeah. Maybe even more.
Well, I think, well, I don't know, but the text element is 100%.
Yeah, but I think that it might not be translating in the same way that it is in Figma, perhaps. So let's just play a bit with the size. Oh yeah, and of course we're not at 1920. That was the reason.
This is important.
So because we were not in 1920 and this text doesn't have any scale, once it started to the browser width started to shrink, then the text started to break, so that A went to the second row. Let's see how we can do it. This is actually looks kind of tricky, because if we look at the design, we see that here the R is reaching this point and this A is reaching this point. Let's see how we can try to achieve this. So first of all, I have this like gap here. What I did with the text, I docked it to both sides. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the grid layout, and I want to cancel out this 325 pixels. I'll just change it to a really low value, just for in order for the row not to collapse if I accidentally delete my element. I'll change it to 50 pixels. And now you can see that this text height is determining the height of the grid row. And that's what I wanted here. But let's see how we can take care of the width of this text, so it will go exactly where we want. So it's docked now to both sides, and I think I can give it a margin here. Let's try -30. So I'm going to give it a negative margin from this side, so that way it will protrude out of the grid cells that it's living in. So -30 pixels. So yeah, that's too much. Let's try -20. Yes,
Boom.
it looks good. Looks good. And I think the only thing that we can do now is
Increase font size. No?
increase the
By
font size.
2 or 3 pixels.
Let's try. Yeah, we're almost there. Oops. So yeah, let's give it one less, like this, right? We're about there, I think. You can tweak this as you go along, but I'm happy with what I have right now. And let's also make this scale, this text scale. So now we have 288 and we're at 1920. So I'm going to scale the text. You're going to see like it's changing drastically now. But then I'm going to put here 288. Then that's going to bring it back to where it was. And let's see how this thing is scaling right now. Yeah, so what I can do here is give here even less than 10, just for the let's see. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. But I see that we have an issue here where this 20 pixel, as we change that, this minus 20 pixel margin is no good here. So let's just go back to 1920 here. And what I think we need to do here is, instead of this being minus 20 pixels, let's change this to convert it to viewport width. So it gives me -1 viewport width. And let's see if it keeps the same.
Why viewport width and not percent?
I'm using viewport width because this
The gap is the gap is in
first of all, the
pixels.
gaps are in pixels. And these images as well are not the same. They're not the same in FR. I actually did this as like something very from intuition, but let's see if it works.
So basically, you do not know exactly what ratio of font of text scale you are going to use. You play with it, right?
Yeah, I'm playing with it right now as we speak, and I'm trying to get it to where I want it to be. And it keeps breaking, but
okay. Here is an idea. What if you can? I mean, if you want to avoid any case of the text to break to two lines, you can combine the text scale with max content width.
And then, well, actually, let's think about it. If this text is going to be max content, then because these are in FR units, it's going to be determined by the text. Thinking out loud. Let's try.
I'm not sure, because all the rest of the columns are in fixed size.
Yeah, but the columns that this text is living in is on the FR columns.
Yes, but the text is not in one. It is on 3 columns. So let's try it, right? This is Tabula Rasa.
Yes, this is exactly it. We can actually make it, let's try and make it max content.
Too good to be true, I think.
Yeah, I think it's working. I think it's working. All right. This is so much fun, by the way. I feel that this is like how we should do workshops. Like I feel like this is the first meeting, but it's gonna be the first of many.
This is
That's
your
it.
vision, Ido. It's coming.
Yeah,
true.
if you guys that are watching, if you like it and you want more content like that, then we're more than willing to do more meetups like this. All right, so
and of course we want you to join, like to host you and your design.
I want to take a look at this grid and just quickly overview again what's going on here. So basically, we have this row here, which is the height is determined by the height of this text here. The rest of the content is in this 1FR row. And because our section has a calc of 100 VH minus 110 pixels, so this is taking the height the height of the section. And if we take a look again in the published version, let's just publish and refresh. So if we resize, then we see that we're always keeping this 100 VH relationship, right? Okay, let's see what else we need to do here. Just zoom in. So we need to give these images some corners, right? And we need to make them overlap this text here. Let's see how we can do that. So this text, it has kind of a line height, so it's going to be a bit tricky to measure. Let's try measuring it like this. So 24 pixels at 1920. All right. So what I'm going to do, so this image now is stretched. First, let's give it that border, that corner, sorry. So I'm going to unlink the radius here. So I just want to give it a one corner. So I'm going to change this to 80 pixels and also this one to 80 pixels. And I'm going to give a negative margin now. And I want to be at 1920 because I measured the 24 pixels on 1920. So this is going to be responsive. I know that I'm going to convert this and I want to make that conversion while I'm in the 1920 viewport width. So,
but why you are always going back to 1920?
Because I'm measuring, my measurements are being taken at 1920. Like I measured this 24 pixel here on the 1920 design. So yeah, if it's not going to be, so at 1920, it's 24 pixel. But if I'm not in 1920, I don't want it to be 24 pixels all the time. We can even see this for a second. Let's just, we gave it minus.
So, but if I'm working on the design that is 90/20, right? But but my screen, when I watch the live site, my screen is smaller or bigger. So
let's see what happens.
How can I see the exact design that I'm building in my computer?
So first of all, you can set your canvas size in the editor.
No, but my design is bigger, right?
Do you mean how we can like inspect it?
I mean, I get the design file from my designer, which is on 90/20, but I'm working on 60/80. Okay, so I am building it in the editor itself in 90/20, but I want to see it live on my computer, scaling, right, to the right proportion.
Okay, you can basically go to the inspect in your browser, and you can go to this device toolbar that you have here. And here you can change it to be, it's actually on responsive now. And here I can change it to be 1920. Oops.
On, let's say 80/20, 80.
1080.
Yeah, 1080.
So now this is how it looks like, and you see this is zoomed out to 65%, so you can actually see what you're doing.
Amazing.
All right, so we gave these images some negative margins here, but we see that they're below our text. This is easy. What we can do is we can go to our layers panel and just take these images and put them above our text like this. And basically it added them, this is the correct order, or more correctly, this is the correct order. In terms of also in terms of accessibility. I won't get into that too much now, but basically the text that I added went above these images. It's because I added the text after I added the images, but I can rearrange this at any time. Okay. And now, so you asked me about this 24 pixels, what's going on with it. Let's try, let's put this now at 1001. It actually looks pretty good also this way. I am getting sort of this A protruding out of here, which I don't like. And also, I think I'm seeing this like text here, this little white line here, which I don't like. Let's just tweak this a bit and maybe change this to minus 0.9 VW. And let's see now how it looks on the big screen. So let's see, can I do minus 95? No, I can't. Okay. This is good enough for now. I can also give this minus margin also in VW. Let's try if it looks better. And again, the reason that I'm using VW and not percentage is because the size of these two columns is not the same. So if I give minus 24, convert that to percentage, let's even try that for a second. You see, minus 24 pixels. And if I convert that to percent, I get minus 2.8 here. And if I do 24 pixels, sorry, minus 24 pixels, and convert that to percent, then here I get 3.3. So basically, this would behave differently. So, oops. Sorry, let's undo that. So again, I'm going to do minus 24 pixels. Convert it to VW and minus 24 pixels. No, sorry, this image. And this convert to VW as well. So now we should be good. And go to 1001. I'm feeling pretty good with this. I would say that maybe I want my text to scale down a bit more. Maybe like this. So this is 1920. Let's just publish to see it in the live site. And you can see that as I'm changing my viewport height, everything is behaving in a responsive manner. Okay, I think we're good. Did I miss something, Matania?
Everything looks right.
All right, so let's start taking care of these two sections here. Or let's first add maybe these text elements here. All right, so let's take a look at it. This has a size of 57, say 58 pixels. And we have this arrow. Let's just export it as an SVG. I'm going to export it here. Call it arrow and save it. And we'll add a text. Change the font to the font that we're working with. Change the font size to 58. Change the color to white. Yeah. This was the text, I believe. And let's bring in our arrow. Add it to the page. Let's see what size this arrow is. So in the design file, I see it's 43 by 43. So I'm going to change it to 43 by 43. And you can see all the time I'm doing this thing where I set something in pixels and then convert it to a fluid unit. Let's see how it's going to work here. This might be a bit tricky, but let's see how we can do it. So just going to add it here and just change it to fluid for now. And now I'm going to select.
Actually, there is something that I really love to use, and it's costs nothing basically. So images and SVGs, right? Even if, I mean, if you set 2 units, width and height in pixels. So if you like to make them bigger or smaller, so you need to enter 2 units again, right? Width and height in pixels. So the cool thing in images and SVG that you can keep the width in pixels, but the height you can leave it auto. And if you increase the width in pixels, the height will grow proportionally, right?
Yeah. And in this case, what's the use for it in this case?
So if you select the SVG and you set it to be 43 on 43 pixels, right? In fixed size,
Oops.
it's 43.
Yeah, 43 on 43.
So you can leave the height as auto. And now if you decide to change it to 50, you need to change only the width.
Yeah.
Not the height.
Yeah, I understand, of course. But we're going to change it to scale proportionally because for now we want it to be responsive. We'll see in a minute how we're going to treat this. So what I'm going to do is the text here is 58. I want to just look at it for a second. And let's see what so there's this auto width here for the text. And now I'm going to measure the distance between the text and this arrow. So it's 24 pixels. Let's see. So first of all, this is a good opportunity to use max content on text again. Let's start by doing that. And let's now select the text and the arrow. And we'll use this place in container option. So we're creating a container. All right. That didn't go as I planned, but now it's okay. And now I'm going to apply a grid to this container. It's a grid of 2 columns, and I'm going to put the text in the first column. And the arrow, it's because it was set to scale proportionally, it's changed in size now. We'll just bring it back to 43 by 43. And let's see what's going to happen here. So So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the container width also to be max content. That's interesting. As a minimum width.
No, I think the
Yeah. It's not in a, so this needs to be
one FR and the second one max content, right?
Yeah.
Or auto. Try auto, see what's happened. I think you will take the max content from the
Yeah,
elements.
it's the same thing. I like 1FR. I don't know. Intuitively, this feels better to max content. It feels better to me.
So what is the difference between max and min content?
So basically, max content will take the 100% of the length, and it will give the whole length of the text, and it will set that width depending on the length. And min content, I think it will take the length if the text breaks and it reaches like the it will take the length of the longest word inside the text, and that will be like the minimum width. So
Right. So if we set here min content, so it will be Mona and new line Donna, right?
let's try. Tabula Rasa, we said.
Tabula Rasa.
Min content.
No, it's because the text element itself has max content. But if the text, if you give the text 100%, so yeah.
Yeah. So it now changed to break to both.
Monadona. Yeah. And the width is by the longest word.
So basically we can leave the text here at 100%, right? And just change the column to be max content.
Right.
That will give us the same effect. We doing it on both of them is like a sort of redundant. Let's see. And now we have to give here a 24 pixel margin from the left side here. And let's see. Let's give this some scale text. So this would be 58. Let's try it from 58 to 10. And let's make this thing by making it fluid. I actually think I need to use VW here. Let's try. If I use VW and I make this auto. So now it's going to scale proportionally. And let's just do it like this without even, let's see how this behaves. Okay, so we have some sort of minimum height that we're getting here. And that's, I'm guessing that's coming from our grid. So I'm going to go into the advanced mode, and I do see that we have a minimum height of 69 pixels. Let's just change this to 10 pixels. So now we're good. And the only thing that's still bothering me about this is that our left margin here is in pixels. So let's go back to 1920, convert it. Let's try first to percent. Let's see what happens. It doesn't work with percent. Matania, you want to explain why it doesn't work with percent?
Actually, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not working. But the best way to avoid it is to use gaps and not margins.
All right, I will take you on that. what I was going to do, I don't know, maybe intuitively, was to convert it to VW, and then it would
Right.
be it would work this way. So if I go to 1001, this is scaling beautifully. But I wanna show your way, Matania.
I mean, margin in VW, it's great, right?
Yeah,
But
it gives us so much like possibilities.
yeah,
When we have some sort of uneven things or things that will not behave the way we want in percentages, then VW is like sort of this universal thing that it's based on the browser width. It's not based on container, it's not based on anything. It's based on the size of your browser, and that's like it's like usually a stable unit.
Yeah.
So let's go to this container and let's give it a gap, right? So we're going to go to advanced mode, and we're going to give here a 24 pixel gap. And will it work in percentage now? Oh,
In
I don't
VW.
have percentage.
Yeah,
I have only
VW.
Yeah, right. Okay. So basically we get the same result. Okay, so now I'll go back to my design, and I want to just measure, let's see, I want to measure the distances from, so I have 22 pixels here, and 30 pixels. So this is going to be docked to the right and to the bottom. Undock it, and it's going to be
30 and
30 and 22. And again, I'm going to go to 1920 because it's 30 and 22 at 1920. And then I'm going to duplicate this container and drag it into the this, and also give it 30 and 22. And what do you think?
So-
do we need to use now percentage for the docking, or again, are we going to fall into the VW again?
wait, but we have some spacing in, I mean, the container is bigger than the content, right? In the height. So it's more than 30 right now.
Let's see.
Do you have mean height? No, maybe in the grid.
Oh no, I don't have. It's
So it's the line height of the text. I think you can reduce it.
yeah, let's reduce that. So line spacing would be, let's try 1. Good enough?
I guess so. Not pixel perfect, but I guess so. Definitely better.
All right. And what's the text here? Let's see. So it's this text. And now we will see the beautiful magic of max content, because this text is not the same length as this one. But if I paste it in, then the grid, because the grid column is in max content and my container is in max content as well, then everything adjusts itself to the size of the text here, to the width of the text. Okay, and let's see, I want to publish, I want to see it on the publish side. And I want to see how it behaves here. Okay, so.
Oh no. Oh no. What happened
no.
to the 88 flowers?
My God.
Can you view it like no
Let's-
inspect,
Let's see what's
like
going on.
real view?
This is okay. Maybe my container for some reason got some minimum width. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, this is guys, you know, this is Tabula Rasa. You get everything, you get the real experience. All right. So this is 1920 by 1080. And
Let's
as
see it full screen on your screen, like not full screen, we no inspect. Beautiful.
and because we're docked to the bottom, then this text is always going to be in relationship to the bottom of the grid cell. So that's important here. Nice. All right, we have 10 minutes left. Let's continue. Maybe we'll leave 4 or 3 minutes just to talk about what we're going to do, what you would want to see next time. All right, let's go back to the design and see what we have here. So I can see that we have another image here. Let's try and export it. So.
Ido, before we finish in this 10 minutes,
I know what you.
I saw a question at the beginning about the lines of the grid. Okay, how are you going to create it? I mean the horizontal lines,
Like
dividers.
these lines here.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. So basically, in this situation right now, the way for me to create this would actually be to just add some vertical lines and align them to the grid. And if you want to expand more about that, Matanya, you're more than welcome, like to talk about some other methods that we sometimes use. So I'm going to go to decorative and add a vertical line here. And let's see, where do we have a line? It's here. And I can basically just drag it across both of these cells. And what I can do is just hit the stretch, and that would make it dock to the top and bottom. And I'm also going to dock it to the left and set the margin to 0. And let's see if I want this line to be white, and it's 1 pixel. That's fine for me. And that's one of the lines that we're using. And then we can actually duplicate this line, bring it in here, stretch it again, and again, I'm going to dock it to the left.
Magic.
All right, let's export this gradient. This one would be gradient line 2, maybe. And just add it in. Let's add it to the page. and I'm going to add it to this column here. I can stretch it like this. I think I can play with the focal points, so we'll see more of the gradient itself. I think that looks better, right?
Yeah, definitely. Right.
So basically, because this is an image, right? We dragged an image in, and we have some different proportions that our browser can get in, and we always wanna we want it to be focused on the place here where the gradient looks really nice. And if I put my focal point, like say up here, basically I wouldn't even see the gradient. But if I drag it to the bottom like this, then I would be always focused on that gradient, no matter my screen size or my the proportion of my screen. Okay. And I think, I don't know if we have the time. Let's just add in our buttons here, our social buttons. Can I export these? Will it export them?
Actually, you have social component, social icon components.
All right, let's use it. My question, will it be
White icons, I think you have.
oh, it doesn't
But
have to be responsive, because this column is
yeah, it's fixed. Right.
all right. So let's go to embed and social. Let's add a social bar.
Take the white icons. Right?
This one.
No, the black circle with the color white, the last one. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. I'm asking myself, with the gradient, will we see that black background?
I
Let's
think
try.
anyway you can change the icons. Oh,
Let's
it's transparent. It's not
Yeah.
not white.
All right. I'll just add in these gray ones just for the example, I think. Okay, so I can set this social bar to be vertical, and then I'll just bring it in to this column here. And for some reason, oh, it has a fixed like width, this thing.
Yeah, but you cannot. No, you can change the icon size.
Facebook. Yeah, let's see what the icon size.
Ido, you can change the icon size,
Okay.
and then it will automatically reduce the width. So go to the design.
In the set social links.
No, go back. Layout. You see the icon of the layout?
This one.
Yeah. Here.
So let's see. The icon size is, let's take this one, maybe this one is, so it's 20 pixels. This is not exactly what I was going for, because now it's not centered.
Maybe play with this spacing. No, it's not related.
No, the spacing is vertical spacing.
Try to dock it to the both sides.
It won't let me.
Can you convert it to be fluid? And now fixed? No.
No.
So we can use icon buttons, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we have them in the media here, right? We should let's see, maybe in decorative. Let's see, Facebook. No, we don't have it here. I'll just take the icon from the design. So I'm going to export these 3 as SVGs. Export 3 layers. Save them. And I'm going to go to my media, upload them. Add them to my page. And it's going to be 20 by 20. This one is going to also be.
And here's something we are not using today.
This is what you talked about before, Matanya, when we say that, all right, we want this image to scale proportionally, but we still want it to be in pixels. So if I change this now to 20 pixels and the width and the height is set to auto, then
Exactly.
it scales proportionally.
Yeah.
Just place this here and make this 20 pixels as well. And make it and place it here. And just what I can do with these 3 is I can create a stack of 3 of them. And I also want the width of my stack to be fixed, because these are fixed elements.
But there is important thing to think about here is that you need to make sure that these elements are always one on top of each other in all the breakpoints. Otherwise, you cannot make it horizontal line, right?
Yes. Yes.
And in our design,
well, here they're not. So maybe use a grid here instead.
yeah.
All right. So we'll unstack these and we'll select them again. And instead of using stack, I'm going to go to the 3 dots here, and I'm going to choose place in container. And then I'm going to apply a grid here of 3 rows. Nice. Let's just finish this up. And I'm going to take your advice on using gaps. So I'm going to create 20 pixel vertical gaps here. And I'm going to change the row heights here to be max content. And also this one. And also this one. And I'm going to change this minimum height to none. Yeah, I think that's about all the time that we have for today. So guys, let us know what you thought of this meeting, what you thought of this interaction between us. And I don't know, were there any, I didn't see the chat, but I didn't see if there were
Actually, there is a question, interesting one.
Yeah, I see that, and
So-
someone is raising his hand right now as well. So can we take a couple of more minutes to answer some questions?
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah.
So
Maria, can you take the questions of Kimberly Martin?
Sure
About-
thing. Yeah.
can you see?
I think you might understand them a little bit better than me, Matanya, though. But Kimberly is asking, and thanks for these questions, Kimberly. They're great. So the question is, would you create an additional first BP, or would you overwrite the
Breakpoint.
Oh, breakpoint.
Yeah.
Sorry. Or would you overwrite the default?
again, can you ask the question again?
Yeah,
So she's working on 27-inch screen size, which is 2,560 pixels width. And I guess so shows that our breakpoint is 1,001 and up, right?
Yes.
So she's asking if you or me will create another breakpoint between 1,001 to 2,560.
Like make a breakpoint that's above 20,
in the
for
middle.
example.
Yeah.
What is the question? If that's possible, when would we do that?
No, it is possible, but if you will do it, we'll do it.
Generally, of course, yes, you can create breakpoints that are above 1920. If you're aiming, it actually depends on what you want to display on your site, because, for example, sometimes like you would want maybe to constrain your content inside of your site. So maybe you wouldn't want to go with your content inside too wide, even though you're working, I don't know, on a 3,000 display. And then you would maybe set your content, or maybe set a grid that will have a maximum width, that even though your screen is going above 1920, then the content inside would still stay. What you have to also think about is scale text in that perspective, which now by default, when you set scale text, like the high value here is 288. Well, that's 288. That's now at 1920. But if we make our screen larger than 1920, say I make it 3,000, then the text is going to grow with it. For example, I don't know, in this kind of screen, let's inspect this in the browser again, in this responsive mode. Let's say that we make our screen width 3,000, and let's make the height 1,500, something like this. For something that's like very visual and really like a visual thing, I think this is perfect, and I don't see here like the need for another breakpoint. So I hope that answers the question. Maybe you have some more to give on that.
Anyway, I would always as Ido build here. So when you build it right, and it's actually responsive. So if you build it on 90/20 in the right way, it will scaling up at any screen size that you have. So, but on very special cases, if you like to create some adjustments, so you can create a custom breakpoint. As I said, 90/20 and up, and then you can, because the range is huge, 1,000 and up is infinity. So, but you can always create some.
I think I want to add to what you're saying, just in regard to this example that we're seeing here. Like, for example, if we take a look at our screen now, which is it's representative of a really big screen because we're at 2,979 on 1550. Well, something has lost a bit of proportion here. And if we take a look at the text, for example, in our header, well, if we look at it at a small screen, like something like this, well, now there's a relationship in size between this text and between this text. But if we go, so because the text in the header is in a fixed size, so this relationship changes. Here in this example, it looks pretty good. It doesn't like annoy the eye in any way, but you might want to have the text above 1920, maybe to scale as well.
Or to create another breakpoint for very big screens, and then there to change the font size to still fixed size, but bigger. Or because the header height here is 60 pixels, and in huge screens, it's very small, so you can make it bigger.
Let's see. So let's say if I add a breakpoint, maybe to the header itself, just to the header, because master sections, like a header, they have their own breakpoints. Let's add a breakpoint here. And let's say this breakpoint is 1920.
N1, right?
19, no, if I make it 1920, then I think it will be
all right.
From 1921. Yeah, it's 1921 and up. Okay, so here I can make, let's see.
No, you need to go to
to the higher breakpoint.
Yeah.
And let's make my header bigger here. Let's make it, I don't know, 80, 100 pixels maybe, like this. And maybe we can change our text to be, let's try with scale text. Let's see what happens.
Oh, but then your the header height is fixed.
Let's see what happens. I want to see the result, right? So let's leave it here, like at 50. And let's now go to 2,500. And let's go to 5,000. Let's make it exaggerated. Still works.
Right. But go to the live site. Let's see the real use case.
All right. So now let's refresh.
So it's getting bigger.
And if I go to 5,000,
bigger. The height is fixed, right? The height is always 100 pixels.
Yeah, but why is not it? Oh, yeah. No, so it's good. No, the size is not. The size is not fixed, I think, because
the height
of the header, it's not fixed.
It's 100.
It's minimum 100.
Mean height. So
it's
you need to add
100.
Yeah.
So it's good.
But it's
now the size of the text is determining the height of the header as well. So it would never protrude out.
Right.
All right.
Great,
So,
a giant tabula rasa, basically.
Yeah.
So guys, let us have your comments on Facebook and tell us what you got from this session, and give us. We're also very open to your ideas and what you would want to maybe see. I'm also not. I'm not ruling out that if one of you or if anyone has like a design of their own that they want us maybe to tackle or to build, that's also a possibility. But I think I personally had a great time here today. I want to thank Maria and Matanya, of course, for joining us.
And we want to thank the amazing designers Amit and Eliran for creating the actual thumbnail to the Tabula Rasa, which is pure art, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. Yeah. No, and like I think Ido's right. Like amazing for you guys to join us for this as well. And I think this is going to be such a great opportunity for people to get to know each other over the series as well and come together with different ideas. You know, this is a different type of event and it's very much focused on you guys. So thanks for making the time for it as well, folks. And Ido, we have to mention your YouTube channel as well. So I'm going to just pop a link in there, but Ido creates great content on YouTube. Search YouTube for World of Editor X, and I'll pop the link in the chat.
I also want to send you guys to Matanya's YouTube channel.
Yes.
Do it.
I know that many of you have probably recognized his voice. Now you also see his face. But I Love Editor X, of course. Big respect.
Yes, search I Love Editor X for Matanya's as well. Amazing content.
And thank you, Maria, for having us here.
Oh,
and set the scene and set the scene for this amazing Tabula Rasa.
No, it's great. Look, and like I think, folks, let's keep talking on the Facebook group, on the forum. Like, please come to us with ideas. Let's continue this conversation. I think people have amazing ideas about what they want to learn, and the way that we can bring that to this is by hearing from you folks as well. So please, let's get a thread going in the Facebook group, and let's catch up there. And yeah, thank you to Ido for a really great concept. I think this is what it's all about, bringing people together and learning together. And as you say, Ido, as well, making mistakes live on air is a great way to learn too. So look, thank you so much.
Look at what happened here. Something happened here.
That's great. That's great. So yes, thank you.
All right.
I think that's
amazing. Yalla, Tabula Rasa, everyone.
Yes. Tabula Rasa. See you in Facebook, folks. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So I'm just gonna